for brigands who have no respect for the law or for the rights of others.
We are going to exercise force and the law, and the last thing we want to do is fight.
Freedom for you! British freedom! Freedom! This is what freedom's about! Have you voted it in? Have you voted for this?
Radio Solent News. The so-called hippie convoy, which was banned from congregating on land near Stonehenge last week, is this morning parked on a disused wartime airfield in the New Forest. More than 100 vehicles arrived at Stoney Cross late last night after travelling under heavy police escort from Corfe Castle in Dorset. This morning, when the police ordered them to clear the road, the 300 hippies built a makeshift bridge and crossed a ditch to drive onto adjacent Forestry Commission land.
This is Forestry Commission land, and you've no right to be on it. I'm requesting you on behalf of the Forestry Commission to leave forthwith. If you do not do so, the Commission will take legal proceedings to regain possession.
We require you to move these vehicles off of this highway onwards by 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Where are we supposed to go, man? Where are we supposed to go?
Not a matter for me.
You see these teeth? Put them in now, go on. Kick them in now, man.
Don't be...
Frankly, they're foul-mouthed, they smell foul, and they're soiling a loved, treasured part of this community for residents and for other holidaymakers. And frankly, it's got to stop. It's anarchy at its worst. They say, well, where do we go? That's their problem. Our problem is to prevent harassment of this community. And the simple solution is for them to go back to a conventional way of living instead of in this state of anarchy, which assumes rights that don't exist.
We're the New Age gypsies, as people call us. We're people who want a festival. We wouldn't be travelling around at the moment if they let us have this festival. They'd have no need to freak out. My background...
Total waste.
No, my background, I've got 9 A levels, 3 A levels, and was part way to a university degree till I decided it was a load of bullshit and I wanted to do this.
So how did you join?
It's a long story. See that man over there?
How about you? What's your background?
8 O levels, 4 A levels, a year through microbiology degree, and jacked it in because just fed up with climbing ladders.
I feel sorry that a society like ours can produce a group of people who feel that they can opt into an alternative society while still having their tap into the conventional society that feeds them. I think it's very sad. But they're not hippies in the sense that most of my vintage know, who are very gentle, kindly souls who, yes, adopted out, but they certainly didn't offer aggression. They certainly didn't use vehicles as battering rams, as some of these people have in the past. Some of them are very gentle, what I've called Huckleberry Finn folk, who have latched onto this way of life, but also latched into that group are some very hard people who were in the business of neutralising their worst harm and their trespass and their indignities they're applying to other folk.
Most of the police we meet when we're here, they're just full of hate. Their hearts are full of hate and nothing else, right? They're just like the skinheads, right? And they've just grown a little bit older and they've got uniforms on. Yeah, and all they want to do is trash, 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 trash. They're just like my ferret who knew how to kill. And all that went through his head was kill, 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 kill. And they're just a big bunch of bully boys.
When I was a lad, the police weren't the same as they are now. You could approach a policeman, you know what I mean? Ask him the time or ask him the way or something, but I wouldn't nowadays. No way. They're just animals, most of them.
I don't understand anything. It might give them ideas, but I don't think we're in a very good position.
The situation seems to be that we're under siege.
We are.
Yeah, we can't get out, and we can't get back in again if we do go out. This time last year we were besieged one day, and it took 7 hours for them to mount up enough forces in police and various other troops to come in and remove everybody's homes and arrest everybody. They've got 7 days in which to mount up that amount of forces.
You know what I mean when we say trashed, we mean a repeat of the Beanfield situation.
Both parties are uncertain about what's going to happen in the next day or so. I mean, the police standing out there, they're uneasy because they don't know what they're going to have to do if they have to come in on us. We're uneasy because we're sitting here waiting for them to do that.
I can't give a precise date, but it's going to be somewhere on the order of this weekend. I can't give a precise date because the planning needs to be perfected to that end of peacefully resolving this situation. For draft, I think we agreed this morning that that is going to be the basic strategy and that minimum force is the key and maintaining the peace, and that we can anticipate from that that there may be some who take exception to our repossession tactics and process. I think I'd like you to fill me in now on what the social services contact with the council and what the plans are for that, John, if you would.
It was recognised around the table here that there are people who are going to need caring for, and we're going to have to put them into contact with the right people who can take care of them, and they're not people we want to have very much to do with at all. We've pointed out to them that there could be quite large numbers, and they accept that, and accept that they will have to and will be able to get on and cope for them in some way.
It would be perhaps nice if they could have a representative there with us for these people to make personal contact with, because I don't think they'll trust us.
They think it would be some subterfuge to take them away. I think so. Yes. That's a good thought. We don't want after the event for also, I know we've got our police surgeons at our stations, but I think on site there's got to be some sort of ambulance or health service capability in the event of the worst.
All contact has been basically hostile with them. So at each time they're hostile.
The hostility's on their side, not ours.
Oh, entirely, yes, sir.
It'll have as a basic plank minimum force. It'll have a second basic plank one of persuasion, inviting them to leave and to honour the court order which has been made in the High Court. It will be to minimise any risk of injury or a breach of the peace. I think we can anticipate some breach of the peace given the events elsewhere and the events within the site itself. There is aggression there.
It's certainly not looking for a fight. I mean, I appreciate that it runs a risk of violence and that we must be prepared for that risk and must be prepared to deal with it. Our sincere hope is that if we have sufficient numbers present there at the right time, clearly capable of doing their job and determined to do their job in a professional way, violence from the people on that site will be pointless. We hope they will understand that because they will not succeed with their violence. We want to gain that land and control it, control those vehicles, and make it clear to the people there that they only have one choice, and that is to leave that land in peace without breaking the law.
All right, Barry there? There's something different to one to interpret. Yes. Okay. Because the roadblocks. Which way does that damage? Well, that runway comes down here, look. It's a continuation of that.
I'm going to come down with all of them.
Can you update me, please, as to how many male and female prisoners you've got?
Male and female.
What's its aim? To break up the convoy once and for all?
Its aim is not, I think that's the wrong way to put it, to break up the convoy once and for all. It is to stop the rampant unlawfulness that's been spreading around the country once and for all. And that is its aim, yes. Because that's what the public expect. I mean, not only in my professional life, In my private life, understandably people say to us, how is it that these people are allowed to just drive willy-nilly on the road with unlawful vehicles, without insurance, without tax? Why are they allowed to force their way into a farmer's field? I can't do it. Why should they be able to? Why should they be able to force their way onto a common new forest that's dear to all of us, that's a beautiful beauty spot, used by hundreds, thousands of people, not just people from Hampshire, people from all over the country? Why should they be able to set themselves up so that local people are living in fear of them? Why should they be able to operate in such a way that two caravan sites that families traditionally use at this time of year have had to be closed down? I mean, there's so many why should they be able to.
But not
It's
everybody
intolerable.
thinks like that. Some people think, leave them alone, you've got higher priorities, and you're just going in looking for trouble against things that you have a personal prejudice against.
Personal prejudice has absolutely nothing to do with my enforcement of the law.
It's a common walkthrough, that's what it's called. It's an old ambulance. It's owned and driven by me. It's not all that old, really. She's okay, she's got a good engine on her. Bits and bobs don't work, but what matters is that she runs.
Is she taxed?
No.
Is she insured?
No.
Why not?
Because it's my home. I hardly ever use it on the road. Only when we're forced to move from site to site is when I use it on the road. It's just my home.
And you think you don't need insurance when you're driving it on the road?
Had I a lot more money, if I was given my proper rate by the DHSS, if I wasn't hounded around from place to place and forced to spend all my money on petrol, then I'd get illegal.
It's 4 lorries to Netley.
No,
that's beside you, unfortunately.
The 4 heavy vehicles for 4 combat vehicles to Netley. And there are also at our 4 16-tonners for blocking purposes and 2 JCBs. The two JCBs, I believe, are already in position at Fritham.
They're there now.
Hidden, yes. No drivers.
Good, Sam. I'll be much. They're in the forest there. You've got to rely on somebody sooner or later.
It has been 4 o'clock, but I...
Did somebody say 5?
I have no idea. It's daybreak.
The other motor I can't give you any time. So you said 7-ish. Yeah, say 8 o'clock.
Well, so it's possibly going to have the festival.
tonight.
They must move in today and start disbanding this camp now. But if it isn't done, then a violent confrontation is inevitable. It's happened before. Indeed, it happened at Stonehenge. And I think we are going to have it on this occasion. What we must never see again is a 600-yard convoy of over 100 vehicles with 300 people creeping through the roads of this country, very often with drivers who aren't even qualified to drive, young children driving, and to tolerate this year after year. It's become a nuisance. It's become an absolute flouting of the law. Indeed, one might say an affront to law and order, and it's being paid for by the taxpayer. We have 60 HSS officials in the baggage train of this marauding army, and it really must stop. You've got to remember that this convoy travels with a legal advisor. These aren't just a bunch of happy picnickers. This is a structured group, and it's been allowed to become a sort of formalised part of the landscape over the years, and I hope that Stoney Cross marks the end of it.
I'm as frightened as the next person on this site. We're all very worried about what's going to happen, what can happen. We are citizens of the British Isles. I thought that stood for something on this planet.
They're saying that you're British citizens who don't respect the law at all.
What do you mean we don't respect the law? We've done as we've told all the time. They told us to break into groups, we broke into groups. They told us where to go, we went where we was told to go. We haven't done anything illegal.
But there was nowhere else to go. There was no diesel, so everyone had to pull onto this field. Nobody decided to pull on here. We were pushed. We couldn't go anywhere else.
We just want somewhere to live, right? Everywhere we've been evicted within the maximum we've stayed anywhere since we set off this summer is 5 days. I myself was evicted 4 or 5 times last winter.
Some people have said, go back to where you came from. I mean, where have you come from?
Where did you come from? Where did we all come from? Didn't we all come from the same place? And if we all came from the same place, why are we all being treated so terribly differently? I mean, look at us, we're normal people. These are normal children.
Instead of spending all the money on hiring more and more vehicles and paying overtime to policemen, they should be thinking about the basic problems of giving people somewhere decent to have a site, instead of putting families on the side of the road where children can't get water and people can't get fuel for the stoves.
Come along and say, oh, look how
the
dirty
Chief Constable
this tile is.
describes your way of life as anarchy at its worst.
This is peace. This is what we have here on this site. We live peaceful, happy lives. You know? I mean, what they want to call us, it's up to them. They'll call us something for nothing anyway.
What kind of anarchy is that?
That's terrible.
And whole crowds of football supporters are imposed upon by...
You're allowed to run about at football matches, trashing pubs, trashing old ladies. You're safer walking about on this site than you are walking about in the middle of London at night. Nobody's going to molest you on a site. You're far safer here.
But the general feeling on this site is that we don't know what they're going to do and when they're going to do it.
I mean, for all we know,
and we don't know what to do because of that. I mean, what do we do now? What does happen now?
Radio Solent News. There's been a defiant response from the hippie convoy in the New Forest to a statement this morning from a High Court judge who's ordered the hippies to leave the site. The judge made clear that he wanted them to begin moving out immediately, although he suggested the authorities wait 7 days before evicting them. This afternoon, the hippies said they'd no intention of leaving the site immediately.
Excuse me, have you got a donation?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a sheriff's officer and hold a High Court warrant for the immediate possession of this land, issued on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Food. The warrant is now enforceable. Unless you take steps to vacate this land forthwith, the warrant will be enforced, and you are strongly advised to start to leave the site immediately in an orderly, phased manner. Thank you.
There are reasons why we've got to move it forward a little, because we want to roll just a little bit earlier than we had intended. All officers are minded that their actions will be scrutinised by the world's press and members of the public. Our actions are designed to impound all unroadworthy vehicles. All persons who break the law and where there's a power of arrest will be arrested. There is no room for individual maverick action. All officers must act as instructed by their commanders.
Well, so they've got to go somewhere, but, you know, where do they go? It's a problem, but they just got to move on somewhere or another. They can't stay where they are. That's it.
Do you think it's your job to solve it?
Well, now that they're in this situation, yes, but ideally we wouldn't get involved, but it's got to the extent where we must take some sort of action, and we're the ones that have to do it, unfortunately.
Obviously, it's not a good idea to push them from force to force, and it's about time that something was sorted out. Personally, I don't really mind. I'm just doing a job and getting paid for it. Makes a change from walking the boot.
I mean, when you've talked at home about it, what do you think's the solution?
I think it might be a good idea to set up a few permanent sites for them. I haven't thought about it deeply, I must admit.
Well, from my point of view, it's OK to earn some extra money, but, well, they're there, they're illegally. We've got a job to do to enforce the law. It's our job to do it, so that's it. We're going to get stuck in and do it.
Is everyone getting a clear, uncomplicated message? That's what I'd like to deliver. Apart from my thanks for turning up here tonight, there must be something wrong in New Forest for Assistant Chief Constables and Chief Constable on night duty. Let's remind ourselves an event Nearly a year ago today, some of the things that police officers did weren't quite the credit they should be. If there are any here tonight with concepts of revenge, if there are concepts of disorderly policing, I invite you to leave us now. The real threat from the warriors in that convoy is substantial if they have their vehicles, whether static or on the move. They are potential weapons, and we must decommission them. Again, by persuasion, we will seek orderly, phased evacuation of that land unlawfully occupied. And this is a no-win situation, whatever happens. All we can do is tomorrow morning hopefully shave ourselves and say, we did our best. They've shown, those invaders, a completely reckless disregard for peace despite their name and for conventional terms, other people's freedoms. And by subterfuge and by moral and immoral blackmail, they're seeking to impose their self-appointed freedoms. The solution is to be found by us. It's up to you now. The setting is there, the plan is there. The dialogue is ended.
Nobody in the caravan, yeah? Nobody in there. Can I get a screwdriver? Yeah, screwdriver. You know, art stuff in here, so can you open that door, yeah? Yeah. I bet you will. Is somebody with you, mate? No. There you go, mate.
What's yours?
Stoney. Can we have a look through there? Who's got a place form on this?
What do you want first?
Driving licence.
Driving licence. Is it taxed?
Yes,
yeah.
It's got tax. Yeah, it corresponds with the numbers, right?
Is this one been?
No, it hasn't been done yet.
We're looking through their possessions at the moment. You have a warrant to search me closed here.
You just said I could have a look through them, didn't you?
Yeah, well you can't.
Well, fair enough then.
Right.
Why tell lies? You said it had bald tyres, now you're telling lies. You're supposed to be a policeman. You're supposed to be an honest, upright citizen. The more you open your mouth, the more I think you weren't born with a mother and father in wedlock.
My reaction is one of shock and horror. They've just taken my home away from me. They've told me I can't take it out of the pound unless I produce all relevant documents, which is out of the question.
2 days ago you told me you haven't got any.
That's it. It's out of the question. This tin I have in my hand here is the money I've been scrimping and saving I was going to book her in for an MOT today and get my insurance, and I'm still saving for my tax. If they'd have given us time, even a week, I would have been fully legal and they couldn't have done this to me, but they just won't give us that time.
But 7 days ago you were given the warning?
7 days isn't a long time.
It's a bit early to get woken up so early in the morning, you know. Just got out of bed, you know.
It's your home, isn't it?
No, it's not, but
It's
I mean,
their
it is
home.
somebody's home here.
Valuables. What about my home? What about my actual home? You're going to take that away from me. You're going to impound it. You're going to take my home away from me. That's what you're doing.
The vehicle's nothing. It's the people. That's the convoy, isn't it?
It's got nothing to do with bits of metal or anything that you can put your finger on. It's a spirit and it's a family, and they'll never, never, never finish it.
OK. With the amount of money and resource they've got at their disposal, you'd think they'd get it right, wouldn't you? I mean, this must have cost, God, I dare dread to think, thousands, probably millions, I don't know. And the amount of gear they've got out on that road, Jesus. And all the time they're just spending thousands of pounds just to... For what, hey? It's ridiculous to move a few people who are camping on a bit of grass. It's ridiculous. All this. Look away, if you look, it's crazy, eh? I mean, you lot here with all your media coverage and that.
So where do you think you'll be in
people and live somewhere. I just want to sit by the fire and drink cups of tea, really. Don't want any of this hassle, eh?
But you seem in an ironic sort of way quite happy with the operation.
Well, I haven't got my head. Wouldn't you be happy? I'm not happy. You know what I mean? I'm not happy with it, but it could have been a lot worse, and I'm just trying to keep a smile, because if I don't, I'll probably cry.
No resistance, ample policemen, well controlled, who ensured that nobody was hurt. Nobody, the convoy members, this is one of our objectives, and of course no police officer got hurt. We, although it's a bit of a foul time of the morning and foul weather, we set out to do this in a humane way as possible. We're advising all those that are now leaving the site to go up to the area where we've laid on refreshments, hot refreshments for them.
Yeah, we'll have bread and butter and tomatoes in a minute.
Buses are laid on to carry them away where social services are going to look after them. I'm very pleased with the way it's gone.
Woman's just told us, thank God you didn't kick the hell out of her. What would you say to that?
It's never the intention of Hampshire policemen to kick the hell out of anyone.
Radio Solent News at 5 to 7. The week-long occupation by the so-called hippie convoy at Stoney Cross in the New Forest is over. More than 400 police moved in at first light this morning to break up the encampment. 42 hippies were arrested and 125 vehicles impounded.
You belong to the club, yes?
Only just over a year.
Do you watch the television news?
Watch the news sometimes.
I think they should be allowed to congregate at their festival, but I think after the festival is finished, they should break up into small groups and go their separate ways.
Why can't they accept the conventional rules of, you know, our society?
They want all the benefits from society, but they're not prepared to conform, are they?
To me, the main thing they're looking for is their festival, and they're not allowed to have it, and they're not allowed to stop anywhere. They've been moved on and moved on. And
I think their core need is a festival. What is a festival? I'm not sure.
I don't really know, but I've just... they're going to have to give something, and I think we could give something as well. Can we run their lives? We do what we want to do. Is it right that we stop them doing what they want to do?
We live by some conventions, don't we? And those conventions include and recognise the rights of others, the rights to be free of that intimidation.
They don't want to conform. They want everything their own way. The same's going to happen next year, isn't it? You're going to have the same thing again until you say, going to sort out a solution.